lights and fury in the sky. Zoids leads the iron pride. Roar of thunder, sound of rock, roar stand steady, battle floor. Blue guardians fight for peace, red music still the beat. down. Red Scavenger without a sound. Planet Zoidstar, cold and silent. In the rubble past its violent glimmer of hope in metal veins, resurrecting through the pain. Scavenger crawling through the steel, bringing the broken back to feel. Lost in the lands of endless dusk, faithful to the iron husk. Battle cries and silent wails, in each boat 1,000 tales. Under blood moon, pale and weak, Red Scavenger repel the meek. Elusive rover, wasteland bound. Under wreckage, shadows found. Fixing warriors fallen down. Red Scavenger without a sound.
across planet sea, the transport Zoids of the Hellic army, with thick armor and reliable tread. Gustav's equipped for repair and refit jobs to be nipped. Rolling treads get them well across the land. The support Zoids keep the Republic grand. Keep on trucking across the sands, Gustav. You are the best convoy Zoids that we have. Never lost due to your 3D radar now. Do not fail our supply lines, Gustav. But even the Empire sees your worth. Now Xenobos has Gustavs crossed the earth. Empire specifications, Zoid machines. We must rid these supply Zoids from our screens. Gustavs do more than repair and carry with their antennae. They keep minefields free. With thick armor they endure most attacks. Keep rolling, Gustavs burn those rubber tracks. Keep on trucking across the sands, Gustav. You are the best convoy Zoids that we have. Never lost due to your 3D radar now. Do not fail our supply lines, Gustav. With your 3D radar, you've got tricks too. Scanning wide for Empire Zoids, not few. Though you lack weapons, you are essential. So 3 cheers for Gustav, your potential. Keep on trucking across the sands, Gustav. You are the best convoy Zoids that we have. Never lost due to your 3D radar now. Do not fail our supply lines, Gustav. Keep on trucking across the sands, Gustav. You are the best convoy Zoids that we have. Never lost due to your 3D radar nav. Do not fail our supply lines, Gustav.